a sucker for ya. I'm a sucker for ya.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would just do a really quick one-take video because I'm always asked like, oh, how do you get your self-portraits so good? How do you get them so sharp? How do you take pictures of yourself without having a photographer there? So as I said, I'm just going to take you on a little one-take video on how it is that I capture my self-portraits. So we are here in the north of the UAE. For those who don't know, that's the United Arab Emirates. So for those of you who don't know, we are here in the UAE, United Arab Emirates, as it's formerly known. We are here in an abandoned village. We've actually been here once or twice, but we thought we'd come back because it's quite large and there's a lot of shots to be had. So I'm just gonna got dress on, as you can see. Normally you would have to cover up and be quite conservative around this country. So for anybody coming here, unless you are somewhere like this where there's not anybody around, then obviously cover everything up. But so yeah, this is the location that I'm choosing to shoot at today. It's a really, really nice doorway. It's really nice and ornate. And let's get to it. So first of all, I'm going to kick these little things off. So I'll just pop these in here. It's not very health and safety. I always walk around in bare feet, so I don't advise it. But I'm just going to line up my shot where it is that I want to take it. So I'm thinking here. So I'm on a wide angle here, which is a 10 to 18 mil. I'm actually in at about 16 mil because I just literally want to get the door frame. So let me just straighten this up. This is my lovely new geared head that Benro very kindly provided me. So thank you guys. Photography is much more enjoyable nowadays. I have this. So I'm just going to expose. So because it's really, really dark inside, I'm going to manual focus. Because when you don't have a person available, it's really hard to make sure that your self-portrait is sharp. So I always manual focus this. So I've brought the exposure right up, overexposed, so I can zoom in here and get it nice and sharp because that is where I will be standing. So I am on ISO 100 here, and I'm going to be shooting this at around f5.6. So that's good. I've focused that middle bit where I'll be standing manually. And then literally how I do it, a lot of people will use triggers, but I find for me to be able to pose freely, I'd much rather do a timer if where I'm going to be posing is quite close, because when you hold a trigger it's a little too obvious you're doing so. So I literally just go into my settings and I go over to the self-timer continuous. I stick it on 5 shots just to make sure that I get my pose right. So now it's how I want it. I'm literally just going to go around to the front of the camera. And I know it's already focused manually, so I'm literally just going to press, run for my life, and pose. Once I know that's done, I always run back just to check I'm happy with my shots. I normally try around 2 or 3 different poses, but that's just, the model in me is never happy with how I look. So I'm really, really happy with that. That's perfect. Easy, it's be good for my blog. And what I will do is I will take you guys on over to Lightroom and Photoshop and show you how I edit my photo in under 10 minutes.
Right, so here's my picture, and I'm just going to take you on a really quick run through on how it is that I edit them. So first things first, I just go down here, make sure that it's all straightened nicely. As you can see up here, it's a little bit wonky, so I'm just going to go up, down, and see if I can fix that. Sometimes try auto because it sort of does it, so that's kind of done it, but we're just going to a little bit more. So that's about as good as we're going to get it. So I'm just going to go up, back onto develop. Exposure is fine as it is. It was really nice light that day. So I'm just going to pull the highlights down a little bit just so you get more detail in these stones. A little bit of texture. Grab up the shadows a tiny bit. And then, so those are my basic settings that I normally do. So I'm just going to pull it into Photoshop. Edit a copy with... Let's wait for that to load. Start with a new layer. So I absolutely love to use the Camera Raw filter. I use it on most of my images just to sort of tweak the colors and make things pop a little bit. So I will go over to here under HSL adjustments, and as you can see I've got the yellow dress on, so here I can change the saturation of that. I want it to stay quite bright, so I'm going to keep it like that. And we're going to move on to the greens, because obviously the surrounding door has really nice greens. So I'm just going to accentuate those a little bit. As you can see, not much change, but I'm going to go back into the basic settings and just mess with things a little bit there. So I like it as it is, but I think I'd like it to have a bit more of a warmer feel as opposed to a colder feel. So we'll stick that there, add a little bit of contrast in. Just check that, that's a little more warmer now, so I'm going to OK that. And I'm just going to flatten that layer and start one more layer, and then I'm going to bring it into the infinite color panel here. So this, you can just sort of mess around with the colours and the highlights and shadows in your picture. I always do sort of light. I go light instead of going medium or intense. So I'm just going to literally click through until I find something that I like. Some of them are a little more overbearing than others. Keep going until I find one that I like. Ah, okay, see, I like that one. So that's this one here. Right, so I like what that's done. So I'm just going to check the before. I like the temperature of that, so I'm going to flatten that. Awesome. And then last but not least, I'm just going to sharpen up the edges around the door so it makes it pop a little bit. So that's filter of a high pass. I'm going to give that 3.6. And then I'm just going to add layer mask and stick that as overlay. And I'm going to change the colour. Black reveals, white conceals. So we'll just change it over to paintbrush. I want it fairly large because I'm literally only going to be going for the corners here. So I'm just going to accentuate those and the patterns within the door. And then obviously the foreground of the image as well. So it doesn't make a huge difference, but it makes it look a little more sharper. So I'm done with that. So we'll save that and chuck it back into Lightroom very quickly. And there it is. So I'm still not quite happy with the straightness of this, so I don't really know. So I'm still not very happy with the straightness of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to crop it in so it's just on the edge of the door frames to each side. up here a tiny bit. And then we're just going to crop that in, and I'm happy with that. And I'm just going to add a little bit more contrast because I love the contrast. And I'm obviously going to pull back the dehaze just a little bit, just to give it that sort of, that smoky kind of feel as opposed to too harsh. And there we go. That is just a really quick run through on how it is that I edit my self-portraits. Sometimes I go more in depth, sometimes I will literally just make major, like minor tweaks. But for a self-portrait like this that was already shot on a location with really good natural light, there wasn't a massive amount of work to be done. So this is my final image, and you can see this up on my blog.
So thank you guys for joining me. I will do a few more of these because obviously in every location and in every kind of climate your settings on your camera differ. So what I will do is I will carry on doing these videos throughout all the countries that I go to, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please like the video and subscribe, and head on over to my website, which is www.journeyswithjade.com, where you can keep up on all of my travels.